properties class. So properties classes are very important because in our automation you will use properties file. You will store the data in key value pair format. Then you will read that data whichever file you need. So it doesn't matter. So the why you need to use properties file, maintenance is very easy. You don't need to change your all other files. So if change comes regarding test data, you can just go and change in the properties file only. No need to change in your test cases. That's a main advantage. And this properties is a class in java.util package, which is the subclass of hash table. And it is used to get the property value based on the property key. That's the main purpose. And so the properties class provides methods to get data from the properties file. Main objective is to get the data from properties file. And you can store the data into properties file also. With your runtime also you can store the data. So whatever the way you can use this properties file. Recompilation is not required if the information is changed from a properties file. So that's the main advantage. Properties, we have a different constructors. Properties constructor, default constructor, properties defaults. Mostly we'll use this one only to create an object for the class. Why you need to create object? Can you make some? Sirisha, can you mute? Okay. So we have all non-static methods in the properties class. So that's why we need to create object for this properties class. So whenever you want to use properties class, you need to create object for the class. So first method is a load method. Load reader object you need to pass for the load method. And another load method is there. So input stream object you need to pass. So what this load method is going to do is it loads the data from the reader object or input stream object. You know how to read the data from the file, right? Either you can use a file input stream or file reader. First you have to create object for those classes, then create object for properties class, then properties object dot load, then you pass that file reader object, input stream reader object. Whichever load method you are calling, that load method related parameter you need to pass. Even from XML file also you can read, load from XML. XML file also you can read the data. But main important is this one, get property string key. So you give the key and that value it will fetch by get property method. So this is the only method we are going to use. And this method, these two we are going to use for reading purpose, for reading the data from properties file. So this method is returning string type data. And another string get property, you can give exact key and default value. It sets the property with the specified key and you will get the value. Set property. For example, you want to write the data to the file, properties file. Then you can use set property method. Set property of string key comma string value. It calls the put method of hash table, and basically it insert the key value pair in the properties file. That is the one. And after that, once you call this set property, you need to do a set store method. A store method, what it does is it writes completely the properties in the writer object. So that's a store method also you need to call at the end. So this is the main objective of this properties file. So there is a new concept has come up. So in the Java 8, that is streams. So what is the difference between collection and streams? And So this is the one of the interview question also. Collections are mainly used to store a group of data. Streams are mainly used to perform operations on data. You have a collection. On that collection, you want to perform operations. But collections is not like that, right? Collection is store the data. You will store the data. And collections, you can add, remove elements from collection. But with streams concept, you cannot add or remove elements from streams. You cannot do that. Collections have to be iterated externally. Streams are internally iterated. Collections can be traversed multiple times. Streams are traversed only once. Collections are eagerly constructed. Streams are lazily constructed. So in the streams, we have filtering method, mapping method, matching method. So these are all different methods you can use to iterate your collection, basically. So collections are like list to set to map. These are the Q, DQ interfaces. So that's all about this. First, let's see properties file. Quickly create a properties file. Create a properties file under this collection programs. How to create a collection, properties file? Right click, new file will be there. Okay, so properties file has a dot properties extension. The dot properties extension will be there. This is the one file. Same code I'm going to use in the Selenium also. That's why I'm giving the same code here. Again, I don't want to explain here in the main method, and again there is some other method I don't want. I'll do the same thing, whatever I'm going to do. So data dot properties file. That dot extension is dot properties. Click on finish. See, the data dot properties file is created. What are all things you can place it here? Very simple. Suppose my browser Chrome. So application URL. So HTTP. Yes. So like this. Then username. Something I'm writing some data. All DB related things also you can store here. Okay, so this is the data we have in the properties file. So this data, well, sometimes it might change, right? It might change also. This is how you need to store all your test data in the key value format. Key value format. Key value format. Key value format, right? So this format you store the data. Now this data I want to read it to my class. So let's create a new class. Properties class I'm creating. So properties demo. So take the main method, but I'll create a method only. Reusable method you can create. Maybe I'll create a static method. Public static. Return type is string type data. You will get always. Read property value. So you will give string key. For this method, what you will do? You will give string key. So first step is create object for the class, properties class. So properties prop equal to new properties. So import this properties class from java.util. From java.util. Here, what you need to do is you need to read this file, this properties file. For reading the properties file, what you need to do? So file input stream we are going to use. So how to do that in a dynamic way, I'll tell you. So till project path, you can get with system.get property. System.get property. There is a system.get property string key. This method, what you need to give user.dir. So this will give you current working directory path. That means till here. Till here you will get. From here, this path you need to add extra. So this path I'm going to add plus. So you can add this path. So how can you get this path? Right click on the properties file, then properties. So till here we are going to get with this system.get property. So this portion will give us this entire path till here. You don't need to hard code. So this is a dynamically you can set this. Then from here to here, from src collection programs data dot properties, that we need to give specify here. So that I'm copying and specifying. Basically, I'm giving my complete file path. That's it. It is throwing an error, so just import them. First import file input stream. Then still it will ask you to add throws declaration, right? Throws declaration are surrounded with the try catch block. So I'm surrounding with the try catch block. If file not found exception, you will get. Then load the properties. So prop dot load. The input stream object you pass FS. This FS object I'm passing. This also gives a throws declaration. I'm doing add throws declaration. The throws I will action. So done. Return prop dot get property t. That's it. This parameter name I'm giving. Automatically value will get. That's a return type method you are going to write. That's all the code, same code I'm going to write in the Selenium also. No change at all. Only change comes here, there our properties file location. Otherwise, so all this code is as it is. I'm good. Now I want to read this data, right? This data in my class. What I'll do, I'll just call this method. That's it. Wherever I need a properties value, in the main method, I'll call that. That's it. But this has a throws declaration, right? So here also you need to add throws declaration. That already we discussed in the exception handling. So just see that. See Chrome. So the same way you can get other properties also. Wherever you need any properties value, you can call the method directly. See application URL. But you have to give exact name, this key name. This key name exactly you need to give. Otherwise it doesn't understand, right? If you this is the value. Next, I'll do username value. Next, password value. This key name you have to give. So DB port value. So DB port value, DB SID value. So like this, how many you want, you can get it. See that all those values you will get. Okay. I changed the data here. See that I don't want to change my test data, my test code. So I don't need to change my test code. I can go and run this directly without modifying anything. As it is, you can run. See that the changed data you're getting here properly. So we changed only properties file data, but we didn't change our code here. That's the how we are going to use this properties file and then how to read that data. Okay, so that's all about how to read the data from properties file. Any questions? So before going to the one more small topic is there, enums. Enums is another important because in the WebDriver we are using enums concept. Let me give you what is mean by enum. Then we'll move to object identification. What is Java enums? An enum is a special class that represents a group of constants, unchangeable variables like final variables. So what you can store in the enums? Only constants like directions, all your keyboard keys, it never going to change, right? So these kind of things you can store in the enums. The important points about enum is, while defining enums, the constants should be declared first prior to any fields or methods. First you declare the constants in the enum inside. You can create a enum like a class, like an interface, how we create a class, right? Using enum keyword you will use to create a enum. So when there are fields and methods declared inside enum, the list of enum constants must end with a semicolon. So let's see that. To create enum, use the enum keyword like this. Enum name. So the separate the constants with a comma like this. So low constant name, so you will write a bigger letters, right? That's why cap letters, comma. Next enum, comma. Last enum, you don't need comma. So note that they should be in uppercase letters. All constants are in uppercase letters only. Then how can you access this level, these constant values? Enum name dot the constant. You can access enum constants with a dot. This is the points very, very important. So level my variable equal to level dot medium. Enum is a short for enumerations, which means we specifically listed all the things. So like says another one you can see, we define the enums, public enum directions. So you can define all directions like this. If you want to get a directions value, so directions dir equal to directions dot the constant enum name dot, this is the enum name dot the constant name. You will get the value. So let me give you a simple program. Use of enum times in if else statements also can use. So directions dir equal to direction dot north. If dir value is equal to direction dot east, so do something with the logic. Else if directions dot west, so do something else. Else if dir equal to direction dot north, do something. So like this you can write. So here is the example fully we developed. We can use that. So direction is east, and if there is direction dot west, direction is west. Dir equal to directions dot north, so direction is north. Else direction is south. So this is how you can take up. So enum you can write inside a class also. The public class, my class, enum level, this one. In the main method you can call that values. And so here level dot c enum name dot constant you call, so that value is storing here. So even you can use in the switch case statement also this enums. So these are all the different examples I have given. So directions dir public enum demo, this is the class. So public void get direction, switch direction. This is the constructor, right? Class name and constructor name is same. So you are passing the enum name here for the constructor. Enum name also you can pass as a parameter. That I have given non-primitive data type enums. So did you remember? Non-primitive data types list I have given enums also. So that enums you can pass as a data type. So for anything, for method, for constructor, anywhere. So public void get my direction, switch this direction, and case east. So in east direction break, case west in west direction break. So like this you can call the all the values. Enum in a switch statement. So you can do different examples I have given. Just go through this. Other than that, we don't need much. Just understand why you need enums. Enums are used to store constants. Then how can we access them? Enum name dot constant. That's the only point you need. So that point we are using in the Selenium. That's why I'm just giving. How you can loop is, you can use for each loop to loop through an enum. So values method you will use, that will iterate with a for each. All the enum constants if you want to print, you can use values method and it will iterate. So for level my var, level dot values, and so my var method, it will print all the constants. And even methods also you can write in the enum inside. See that public enum directions, so east and this one, and you can write a methods also. So these are directions, string code, this dot short code equal to code. So you're getting a short code of each constant, and you want to get directions, direction code, return this dot short code. Okay, so you can get all the short code also, whatever you want. So this is the enums. Other than that, we don't need much. Why and when to use enums is, use enums when you have values that you know you are not going to change, like month, days, colors, deck of cards, you don't want to change them, then you can use enum concept. So an enum can just like a class only, have attributes and methods also you can write. So the difference between a class and enum is, so enum is just like a class, but it has a constants and methods. The only difference is this: enum constants are public, static, and final, unchangeable. Enum cannot be used to create objects. It cannot extend other classes also. Okay, so like interface, you cannot do that. You cannot just, you'll write the constants and methods, and wherever you need, you will call them with a enum name. That's it. That's why you are calling directly. These are public, static, final, right? That's why enum name dot constant you are calling. So that's how we will call. Just let me take up this program, then we can maybe I'll put enum demo class. Simply we'll write one simple program, then we'll go for the, see, you have option here, create enum. So you can give enum demo. Here also all this public and package only applicable for the enums also, like interface class. See, I created this enum. So maybe you can set up all these directions, whatever the directions you want. Maybe these things I can set up, right? Like this we created, and you can create one more directions enum also. So matter of time, I'm just taking these directions. So in another class, maybe I'll change this to this. I'll change the name to level. So on the left side also we need to change here also. So how can you change? Just mouse over, rename file to level.java. Okay, so it changes here also. Now I'll create a new class. A class inside I'll call all of them. Class, so enum demo. Take the main method, I'll call. So level my var equal to, so level dot, so whatever you want. See that all the constants you can call whichever the constants you want. Right, I can print my level is value is 3, high it is printing. Okay, so this is the one, and directions also you can say enum name dot east. So my direction is, so just dir, so east will print. So basically you catch here how you are calling your constant enum constant value, enum name dot the constant name, enum name dot constant name. Okay, so that's the how we can call this enum constants. So that's all about Java. Okay, so if you want a still in the, so class inside you want to call and iterate that, you can iterate also. So for each loop you can use, so for you can use directions, so dir colon and so directions dot values method is there, right? So it will give you all the, so you're just iterating them, just called it. Okay, already I used it, right? Let me use D. So dir I used it already, that's what is throwing error. Duplicate local variable. See, all directions it is printing. This is how you can iterate all your enum constants using this values method, right? So that's the how we can iterate them. So just go here and practice all the enum programs, but basic understanding we need is how to access them. That's very important. Other than that, nothing. So how to create enums, how to declare the constants, how to access them is an important point. So that's all. We can start Selenium WebDriver. So